So, after having read an extract from APJ Kalam's autobiography and a beautiful poem that is a plea for India, now we are seeing, or we are observing, or we are reading, learning what is India, what is in India in totality. What do we have to say that we are proud to be an Indian? We should have something to say that proudly that yes, I am an Indian. What do we have here? That is what we are going to read in C reading here. That is unity in diversity in India. There is unity in it and also there is a diversity. What way we are diverted and what way we are united, getting united, that we are going to see to it here. Before going to the lesson, let us observe a very small part of a tree or a plant. Why do we regard a plant is usable for us? Because it contains a fruit. Because it gives us a firewood. Because it gives us wood for furniture. You see, the tree, it is one, but its use is a diversified use. A single tree I am talking about, not the whole nation as a total. One tree, it gives you food, it gives you furniture, it gives you fuel. That way diversified utilize we are having. Let us call a flower. This flower, what does it do? That means our women decorate their hair with the flowers. Right? And the very same flowers we use in the worship of God. And the same flower we garland it and we respect our leaders and kings. Right? When we are welcoming, we are giving flowers and we are bidding adieu, that is by Tata Cheerio, then also we are giving flowers, a bouquet we are giving. You see, diversified usage of the very single flower. But the flower itself, it has many parts with it and many qualities with it. Because of these many qualities and many parts, we are attracted towards the flower. And then only it stands single. What does it have? It has the green part, cup-shaped one. Right? And that cup-shaped one, it is attached to the stem of the plant. Okay? That cup-shaped green one, we are calling it as your sepals. It when it keeps it together. That keeping togetherness is the actual essence of the flower. And within that cup-shaped greenness itself, we have the nectar over there. And the whole flower gives you a very sweet smell. From where does it come? Again we point out to that cup. Right? Petals are there. Petals, they are very colorful. Again, what is the use of that? To attract, to beautify the flower. And by that we are getting attracted towards the flower. And so we are giving that value to the flower. And again, there are your anthers over there, stigma over there, style over there, and androecium over there, gynoecium over there. That way, this part, it makes the fruit. Androecium and gynoecium, this makes the fruit. And so we are using the flower for many things, you can say to it. That is unit and diversity. And if it is with the case of a flower, a simple flower, we are having these qualities with it: color, scent, pattern and bunch. Single flower gives you a very good look, and if it is bunched together, many colorful, many scented flowers we are putting together, making a garland, making a bouquet. How does it look? Here, when I say flower, we are all flowers, right? But if it is not put with this, we may not be that attracted. So we must be put with this. This is our society. and the society changes time to time. That is the pattern, right? And you are individual, you are giving 1 cent, but when you are in a group, you are giving another cent. That is what? Attachment. That is, you are giving, yes, we are there with you. That kind of courage, that kind of confidence you are giving to others. As a whole, as a single, you are giving some kind of confidence to others. And when you are in the group, when you are forming pattern, you are giving something sent. Here it is not sent. Confidence you are bestowing on others. And color and attraction, your wisdom, your knowledge, that it is your color. If a flower can do these miracles among the people, why not you? You should adopt all the qualities of all the people. You should appreciate and you should see to it. You should enjoy it. This enjoying is also one of the characters. People may not be enjoying. If that fellow has 200 rupees in his pocket, I may not be enjoying. I am not happy because I don't have that money. You should enjoy because he has 200 rupees in his pocket. You should be happy because your friend got 10 out of 10. That is the main essence of human being. Because I got 10 out of 10, the other people are happy. But you should be happy that your friend got 10 out of 10. That means be happy with what others have. Then automatically that you will be having. So that is the unity out of the diversity. There are many cultures, many customs, many colors, many creeds, many habits, many thoughts. But when it comes to, that is what we call as a country, Indianness, all put together, they come together. There is no difference between Sikh and Isai and Muslim and Hindu, nothing. When time comes, we all getting together and we want, then only the development comes. We should feel, yes, we want, then the development comes. Then we can progress, then we can go ahead. That is the lesson what we are going to learn now. Unity in diversity in India. India, a country of many ethnic groups, is a land of myriad languages, a veritable babel of tongues and numerous modes of apparel. For the most part, the continental dimensions of the country account for these variations and diversities. Besides, there are several religions, sects, and beliefs, but there are certain common links and uniting bonds that people have sought to develop in order to achieve the eminently desirable goal of unity amidst diversity. It is true that superficial observers are likely to be bewildered by the astonishing variety of Indian life. They fail to discover the one in many, the individual in the aggregate, the simple in the composite. With them, the whole is lost in its parts. What is needed is the superior interpretation, synthesis, or the power of the mind that can give rise to a vision of the whole. A keen penetrating insight will not fail to recognize the fundamental unity beneath the manifold variety in India. The diversity itself, far from being a damaging cause of disunity and weakness, is a fertile source of strength and wealth. Sir Herbert Risley has rightly observed, beneath the manifold diversity of physical and social types, languages, customs, and religions which strike the observer in India, there can still be discerned a certain underlying uniformity of life from the Himalayas to Cape Comorin. From his long and first-hand experience in India, Vincent A. Smith says that the civilization of India has many features which differentiate it from that of the other regions of the world, while they are common to the whole country in degrees sufficient to justify its treatment as a unity in the history of human, social, and intellectual development. Even the early Indian history unmistakably shows that the political consciousness of the people has from the very early times grasped the whole of India as a unit and assimilated the entire area as the theatre of its activities. India is not a mere geographical expression, nor is it a mere collection of separate people, traditions, and conventions. India is much more than this. The best proof lies in the fact that Indian history has quickened into life. India has many races, castes, subcastes, nationalities, and communities. But the heart of India is one. We are all heirs to common and rich culture. Our culture heritage consists of our art and literature as they flourished centuries ago. Our cultural heritage serves as a bond of unity between people of different faiths and creeds. The streams of different cultures have flowed into our subcontinent to make us what we and what we will be. There were Dravidians in India before the coming of Aryans, and Hinduism is a blend of the culture of the north and south. India has 150 dialects and 22 recognized regional languages. But Hindi, like English, has come to stay as the lingua franca of our nation. From Kashmir to Kanyakumari and from Mumbai to Nagaland, Hindi is known, understood, and is recognized as the national language of India. India has a rich cultural heritage. We are inheritors of several grand treasures in the fields of music, fine arts, dance, drama, theatre, and sculpture. Our sages and seers have left behind a tradition of piety, penance, spiritual greatness, conquest of passion, etc. Our scriptures are the storehouses of spiritual wisdom. Our saints aspired to the realization of the infinite. We have inherited great spiritual values contrasted with which the materialistic progress of the West appears insignificant. The West has to learn a lot from India, and it has now been realized when people in the United States and Europe are turning to the Indian ways of life. Indian yogis and maharishis, musicians and spiritual leaders have all attracted them in a big way. A significant move to project India's culture unity has been the holding of festivals of India in various parts of the world. The West is fast inclining towards our spiritual values, which include meditation and contemplation, charity and love, universal brotherhood and fear of God, piety and unselfishness, control of passion and peace of mind. Our cultural unity is further exemplified by the temples of the south and Khajuraho, the caves of Ajanta and Ellora, which are shining examples of Indians' proficiency in sculpture and architecture. Our music has come to enjoy worldwide popularity. Indian classical music, like the Indian dances, is built on the concept of ragas and talas. Each raga is regarded appropriate to a certain time of the day or the night. There are believed to be about 250 ragas in common use in the north as well as in the south. In the modern times, people like Ravi Shankar have taken Indian music to the west and thus bridged the gap between the music of the east and the music of the west. Other significant features of the India's culture unity are the variety, colors, and the emotional richness of its dances. The country abounds in tribal dances, old dances as well as classical dances of great virtuosity. Throughout India, need is regarded not merely as an accompaniment to social intercourse but also as a mode of aesthetic expression and spiritual realization. The great symbol of divine Shiva, the cosmic dancer, depicted in sculpture and poetry as Nataraja. Similarly, the classical theatre in India has a history of more than 2000 years. It was performed in places and in palaces and temples. The classical plays combined music and dance. Tragedy was music and dance. Tragedy was and is still discouraged. Otherwise, the range of themes covered is wide. It is this strand of cultural unity through the country that we are here to, and to which people in the West are increasingly turning now. It is up to the younger generation to uphold this torch of cultural unity for the rest of the world to see, follow, and emulate, and not get dazed by the superficial prosperity and material achievement of the West, where man has set foot on the moon in his quest for space travel but finds himself isolated in his own society and community. That is the lesson. Of course, many parts, bit I have spelled something wrong and pronounced something wrong, but I covered it. You can see to it very carefully.